Alright, good morning. Welcome to Random Acts Carving. This is a kind of a continuation of last week's. I got the little puffer fish done, and now I'm going to work on a crab, because it's kind of like the crab that I did for the knife handle, but it's just going to be one of those netsuke. Netsuke? Whatever. It can be pronounced either way in English, I guess, so that's what we're going to call it. If I was going to pronounce it, I'd call it netsuke, from the way it's spelled, but that's not the way that the translator said it. So anyways, we're gonna work on this little crab. I got him kind of drawn out there. I don't know if you can see him. You can see his claws a little bit, but just the general lines of where it's gonna be. Just drew it out real quick with a pencil, and we're gonna start carving into this thing. So here we go. Alright, and we're carving. So this is a little crab. I've been looking at these things online. There's about a million different ones. They've been around for 2,000 years, and people have been making these all things, and looked at some older ones, looked at some newer ones, and decided to try to carve one out. I really enjoy these little carvings like this. You can get a lot of little detail in them. It's hard sometimes using up a day to carve one out. I get started on it, and everything goes good. It's makes a pretty nice day, really. If you want to carve something like this, you don't have to have a piece of deer antler or anything like that. You can just pick up a piece of any little piece of wood. I just like using the antlers just because it's something different, and I like the feel whenever it's done. What it feels like it's whenever you polish it up, it has almost like a rock. Feels really really hard. Not crazy to carve. Just some different bits. I'm still learning the different bits. Got some tungsten carbide bits that I've had laying around for years and never used them for anything, and they seem to cut it pretty good. I got a few of the dental bits and some small tungsten carbide bits for the detail stuff, and yeah, they seem to cut into it pretty good. I got a couple of tapered end mills, and they seem to cut it really well. You just gotta watch they grab it once in a while, and they'll fling it across the room, rip it right out of your hand, and send it flying. But or just knock it on the floor. But that's half the fun of it. Getting to you get some exercise picking it up, chasing it down sometimes. But yeah, it's a good time. This is really, other than that knife I carved, this is really the first one of these that I've carved. So just kind of feeling my way along here, trying to figure out where stuff goes. I'm pretty sure something that I can dig in around it a little bit and make it a permanent fixture in my carving. I knew I wanted these claws out in front and to be pretty visible. Is that kind of what makes it looks like a crab. Showed it to a few people, and when they first look at it, they're like, "What is it?" And then they roll it around to where they can see the claws, and then they're like, "Oh, it's a crab." But they don't get out much. They don't get outside much. So I wouldn't know what a crab looks like from different angles. Yes. I leave a little bit of that outside of the antler on there. Gave it kind of a neat look. Just a little bit of that gray and some spots. And I think it kind of shows that I'm using up that whole circle to make the carving. And even that, you can actually leave some of that outside edge and use it as coloring on the carving. Pretty neat. I got into this, I guess, because I thought it would be neat to have a couple of little carvings sitting around, and now I got a lot of them sitting around. But yeah, basically that's why I got into it, is because I thought they really looked cool. But a lot of them you can't buy them. You can't. Some you can, some you can't. But I just thought it would be neat to make it myself and have that pride of that thing sitting on the shelf there. It's like a little trophy you win each time you carve one. Another little interesting thing, whenever you're cutting the legs into a crab, there's like a spider or an octopus, there's 8 legs on a crab, and then there's 2 claws, so that makes 10. And you draw your lines on there with a pencil, and you cut on your lines, and whenever you're done, you have 11. 5 legs on one side, 4 legs on the other, 2 claws. Then you got to figure out how to erase a leg. Still make it look kind of normal. This is a prime example. Whenever you do an octopus, you usually don't end up with 8 legs. Even though you draw them all on there and count them 3 or 4 times, you just don't have 8 legs on there. But yeah, that's what I did on this one. For some reason, his left side ended up with 5 legs. I had to trim one of them off and then kind of move everything back and make it all match up again. As long as you don't go real deep on your first cut-ins when you're laying stuff out, and then you check it before you get real deep in there, then you can usually fix it pretty good. This is a piece of elk antler, I said, and it's a little bit more porous on the inside than a white-tailed deer antler, at least the ones that I've had, but not too bad. You can still carve it, it's just not as pretty. It doesn't polish up like the outside part does. So you got to take that into account as you're carving, to try to keep your carving on that outside shell. If you want to polish it up real nice, if you want to work that inside part into your carving and make it a part of the carving, then you got to be able to put up with a little bit of porosity in it. But for my little crab here, it just blended right in. I took a sanding drum and went over it. Probably, I'm going to say it's probably a 120 grit sanding drum, and just kind of go over it real light, not real light pressure, just to take the tool marks off of it. before you start putting the fine detail in, and just kind of get everything rounded off and get all the little bumps off of it. Then you can do your detail work and then run a polisher over it, and the polisher will put a shine on that really fast. I just use a little bit of white polishing rouge and one of the little Dremel polishing wheels, and man, it takes no time at all and polishes up real nice and shiny. This is one of my small tungsten carbide bits. It's like a little flame shaped tip on the end, but it's really small. You can just get in there and do the little real fine details, clean up the little corners and stuff. Putting little bumps in on his claws and getting around his eyes and stuff. It's really tiny. I have a carving made out of wood next week. It's going to be a miniature Highland cow. So if you are into Highland cows or know somebody that's into Highland cows, I am doing a little carving on one of those next week. And it'll be wood, and it's a little bit bigger. He's made out of a log, probably about 4 or 5 inch diameter, and about 8 or 10 inches high. So it's a big carving compared to this one. I do have some more antler to do, and I do intend on making some little I guess it wouldn't be wood spirits, but old man faces, different ones. I'm going to try to get a couple of those made here in the near future. So if you're into faces or want to look and see how I do faces, I'm not saying it's the right way or the best way or whatever, but the way I'm going to do it. Can all be transferred over to wood pretty easily, just different bits. And, I guess the biggest thing is to just find something you want to carve and try to make it look like something you want to have sitting around in your house. Now we're getting down to polishing them. A lot of little details on the legs, breaking in all the little segments. Could have gone a lot more if I wouldn't have been so porous. But it was hard to see the detail in the center part of the antler. Put a quick little finish on the guy and polish him up, and here we have it. Alright, I got this week's video done. I got the little crab carved here. Turned out pretty sweet looking. There's a lot of little There's a lot more to this. I think once you do a couple of them, it would probably get a lot easier, but just trying to figure out how these legs went and stuff was a little bit of a job. But yeah, it's hard to fit a whole crab in this little thing, but worked out pretty good. Looks pretty neat, and I like the face on this one. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.